Hold up. Jesus Christ. Bum, bum, ba-da, ba-da, bum, bum. All right, I'm pretty sure this is recording, but anyway, regardless, we'll just continue
Yeah.
on as per normal. But
so
so you were saying, so sorry, you're 23 and you were doing what at college, you said? Sorry?
Yeah, so I learned about trading, or I got introduced to trading like right after I got out of college. But like going into college when I was like 18, 19, all I wanted to do like was be a doctor. Like I
Yeah.
was dead set on the pre-med path. I was taking all the relevant courses. I was doing like generally well, like A's and B's, and I was just getting through college. I was also EMT for a bit, so it was really fun. But around like junior year, I kind of got like injured just playing like basketball,
Yeah, what'd you
and
do?
it was just like a repetitive like overuse injury of like one of my knees, patellar femoral pain syndrome. But I mean, I had to wear a cast for like a few weeks. Like it was all right. It was just like really annoying just to sit at like with my knee in like a 90-degree position, just
Yeah.
like burn like my kneecap. But eventually that got better. But because of that pain, I think it affected like my gait, like my walking style,
Yeah.
and that just like messed up the right side of my body for some reason. Like I just developed like hip weakness, glute weakness, and it kind of traveled up into my like my spine. I
Yeah.
started developing like slight scoliosis there, and so that was just like really painful. So I was like going through all of this like while in college, and this is like sophomore year, and it got worse like junior year. Um, and I'm still like working on that stuff. I'm still fixing it. Thankfully, it's
Yeah.
gotten a lot better, but I just been dealing with like the aftermath of that. So that all of that kind of just like derailed me off of this pre-med journey. Yeah, it was like really hard trying to focus on one thing when you're just like in your mind you're just going through like so much, just trying to like feel normal, like just trying to feel like yourself. Um, so I think right about like senior year was where I like really lost my interest in the pre-med path, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like I don't know if like my values, like my core beliefs just like align with that path. Like probably like a couple years ago I'd be like, medical school, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like 7 years of hard work. But now then I was just like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I just like need to figure out myself. So like for like I graduated like a semester early, but I was like, felt lost. Like I felt like I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Like what's my purpose now? What do I want to do?
Mm.
And so I think that's when I like stumbled upon like one of Tim Sykes' ads on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just like the usual, like here's my Ferrari, here's $10,000. You don't need this to start trading.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is interesting. Like I wonder what this is about. So I started delving deeper into it. There was on his website. There's like this like I guess like step-by-step guide of his like his patterns. So I went through it. It was like 10 or 11 pages. I thought it was super interesting, and like I have like this addictive personality where I want to get better at something. Like if I'm really interested in it, I want to become like
you'll throw your whole being at it until you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to be obsessed with it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of like the good traders that I see on Twitter and like within like the Tim Sykes circle are in some way like obsessed with their craft like early on.
100%. Do you find like two things here? Like one, do you find like every single trader that you've ever heard of, ever met, ever anything has gone through that exact same phase of feeling a bit lost, unsure what's going on, unsure about the path they may have chosen, gone through some shit, whether it be an injury or whether it be, whatever, and then sort of found everyone's come here in the same roundabout kind of way.
Like similar fashion. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that you say that because like I think Jack Kellogg was kind of like working like those minimum wage jobs, and he wasn't really feeling that confident in his life about like which path he was going to take. I remember like even Tim Sykes' origin, like his origin story was like the tennis the tennis
Yeah,
scene.
he was going to go
Yeah,
pro at tennis and then got injured. Like exact, he's got the
yeah,
exact. You and him have the exact same story, except obviously different sports.
yeah. And who else?
I'm
I
feeling
mean,
very
even
left
like
out. I feel like I don't have
even
that story.
no, you're good, dude. You're good, dude. Even Kyle, like he wanted to. His dad was trying to get him to do like all these internships after college, right? But he just wanted to do trading because that's where he wanted to. That's where he wanted to go. Um, Dang, yeah. Even Marie, Jack's girlfriend,
Yeah, yeah.
she's trying to find another path. Yeah, I think there's some truth to it because I feel like I'm so against like I really don't want to work that 9 to 5 job. Right? I want to find my own path in life. I want to do something where I can earn based on like my own value or like my own skills. I feel like trading just
Or
provides
earn
that
based
avenue.
on performance rather than your time,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
which I think is what we're all hoping for. Do you
Yeah,
find
that's.
like do you find as well, like going back before you said like how you see a lot of the traders are like fully obsessed with trading. Do you
Mhm.
find that the more you're getting into it, the more obsessed you're getting?
Yeah, it's like yeah, I definitely agree. It's like any sport you pick up, the better you see things, the better you're getting, the more work you're putting in, the more results you're seeing, and you're just like, I want to do this more. Because at some point, like I'm gonna get to that point where I'm like one of these big traders, and I'm able to like explain to like 100 people like what my trade is or like what my process is, and that's just so exciting, right? Like just becoming really good at something and being able to educate like so many people on what you're doing and being rewarded and compensated for your skills and performance rather than some kind of
100%.
time, right?
I'm finding as well, like the further along the journey I'm going, the more
Mm-hmm.
obsessed I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the further in I'm getting, the more I'm realizing how much I have no idea what is going on. Like
Yeah.
as the further I'm learning, the more I'm like, I've got no idea what's happening. And there is so much to learn that I at the start did not realize.
Yeah, it's like every time there's like a new topic that's introduced to me, it's like I'm just stepping on like the tip of the iceberg, and then like I gotta swim underneath into the depths to really see the full picture, right? And sometimes it's really hard. It's really hard to get that information
Mm,
because not a lot of people are sharing that information. Of course, you're gonna find like a lot of like big Twitter accounts
mm,
sharing like their profits or like what the charts are, but like you really have to like find the right people or really dig through to see people commentating or really commenting on how they're trading or how they're approaching their trades or
yeah.
how they're like mapping their process to really get underneath the surface.
I find literally the only traders that I can find that are transparent in that way of actually trying to teach you and actually showing you what's going on is like Tim Sykes students, like your Matt
Mhm.
Monaco's and like Bryce Tui and like Jack Kellogg, like literally anyone that's gone through any sort of Tim Sykes, any sort of
Mhm.
course or has anything to do with him, they're the
Mhm.
only traders that are like, here's what I know, here's what I do, I actually want to help you. Whereas everyone else is just like, here's my profit loss, I'm the greatest,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, but you're not really helping me.
Yeah. It's like just give me a chart and give me a reason why you entered and exited. That would be like perfect.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So
That's an interesting observation. That's very true. Like a lot of the Tim Sykes students, because they're like it's like drilled in their head, right? It's drilled in
yeah,
our head that you gotta be transparent and you gotta like take your losses and just keep progressing slowly and eventually that chart keeps going up. And I feel like when you go through that struggle, just that odyssey, you start to gain an appreciation for like the right knowledge and like like essential knowledge and being able to like share with people like critical information, not just giving them fluff. And
mm,
then and then you get that byproduct of those traders who are like sharing all their information and sharing their trades, just pure diamond,
yeah,
just
it is so
pure
good.
information.
It's funny, like what you said, like you said about like it's drilled in Tim Sykes. Anyone that's associated, drilled in with their head to share. It's like it literally
Yeah.
is. Like I'll make a trade, and
Hmm.
like as soon as the second I sell, Or even like during my trade, while I'm in it and like emotions running, everything, I'm just thinking to myself, when I post this and like someone's going to say this and someone's going to help me by saying, this is what I should have done. Or like, and I'm like, shit, I'm not even out of the trade yet. I'll like let it run and
yeah,
I'll
it's like all these outside factors. Just
like I'll take a loss or I'll take a win or whatever, and I'll like sell, upload it to Profitly or put it on Twitter or whatever. And then like the second it goes up, you know, people are just like, yeah, like this is what you could have done here. This is what, and I'm like, oh, this is like, it's so good. And it's like, I don't know why people aren't showing all of their stuff, because, you know, you don't need to listen to everyone, but like if there's someone that's commenting on what you're doing and they're profitable and you're not, like there's you got to take some away from it.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It's like, I feel like there's not that many traders that are like consistently profitable executing like repetitive setups, like especially like going through a lot of like the steady trade episodes, like early on. You know, Kyle and Jack are like really short biased, and then Matt is like the long biased trader. Like he's the positive, like, you know, everything's gonna go up trader. And like you just learn so much from like their mindset, and it's almost repetitive. Like every episode, they're like taking the same setups and they're showing time and time again why they have this edge and how to execute on these trades. And it's just like, wow,
it is. It's crazy.
That's how you trade. That's how you're profitable.
Nuts. What are you trading at the moment? Like what are your setups?
Yeah, so I guess my story is kind of weird. So like I started learning from like Tim Sykes students and just like, you know, the whole Tim Sykes like world about like March 2020.
Yeah.
So this is right when the coronavirus pandemic hit, and you know the whole market went nuts, and I had no idea what was going on. And I dabbled here and there. I was about break even. I started with like $5,000 account. I went up 1,000 and I lost 1,000. I was like break even, but I was just observing the market a lot, and I wasn't really focused on like trying to make money. I was just really focused on trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And I wish I started a bit earlier, because then I would be able to really understand what was happening.
Famous words. Yeah. Like, who doesn't sit here and go, I wish I started a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of everybody who started like the roll and look time, like 2017, 2018. They got to see a bit of the hot market, and then it slowed down. They could learn all the patterns, and then 2020 hits, and it's just pandemonium. And they can see that it's like the Matrix. Like you just see the patterns and you see the ideas and you start taking advantage of them. It's insane. But yeah, getting back to my story,
that continually goes in a cycle. Like in 2 to 3 years, when me and you are sitting here going, shit, like I'm waiting for this to happen now because I know what's going to happen. And we're going to be like, why isn't it coming around? Why isn't it coming around? And then it's going to be like 2025. And I'm going to message you and be like, bro, I just made like 50K on like HBML. And you're like, I made 75. Why are you being such a pussy? And I'm like, oh, bro.
Hey, that's awesome. That's definitely the goal. That's definitely the goal.
Sorry. But sorry, you were saying, back to your story.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I started around like March 2020, and I was just trying to learn the patterns, and I was kind of like flipping between listed and OTC. And then like hot sectors, and I just had like no framework in my mind of how to like categorize plays. Yeah, that's something I feel like I'm getting better at, just categorizing plays like I like into different subsets, like within long and short. So, and like listed and OTCs. Yeah. And really seeing the patterns over and over again. So right now I'm just like collecting a lot of data, but back from like January 2021 is like when I really started trading. I started off with like $3,000, and the most frustrating part about that was that I couldn't really execute on a lot of the setups, because the OTCs, all the plays were like lining up like crazy. There's like 5 to 10 dip buys every single morning for like a few weeks. And it was just so frustrating having that small account, just taking $1,000 positions. I only had like 3 day trades every 2 days, because I had like the cash account. So it would take like 2 days for it to settle. So I was just like watching plays left and right. So at that point, I was only trading OTCs. I was only trading multi-day breakouts and like overnight gap ups into the multi-day breakouts. So just like that's I guess step 3 of the framework where it just goes up and up and up, multi-day breakout. Just like getting a piece of it, getting a piece of that action. Um, and I also found I also was trying to figure out how to long promoted stocks. So I know promotions in the past were like, especially like Tim Grantani era, there was just so many of them, and they were really lucrative, and the patterns are really easy to read. Nowadays, like most of the promotions are gone, but since the market heated up in early 2021, like especially in OTC land, like probably December 2021 to February 2021, I started just trying to find like these stock promoters online, just like searching like penny stock promoters uh, on Google and trying to like get added onto their email list. And I identified like 1 or 2 really consistent promoters where like they would send out an alert at exactly like 9:27 a.m. or like 9:31 a.m. And then the stock that they're promoting would shoot up like 20 to 30%, like pretty consistently. So it was really lucky that I found this, but I was also like trying to play these OTC multi-day breakout like just long setups, and then like getting the dip buys on like the pattern 5, but also trying to balance that with getting executed on these this promoter hype plays. So that was pretty interesting because that's where I really understood how to like decipher volume. Because like with the promoter plays, like the stock is just there's no one in the stock, like no one really cares about the stock, and suddenly at 9:31 a.m. you see volume rushing in, and so that's how I kind of understood like volume like really takes these plays and just like shoots them through the roof. So I started like measuring characteristics of volume as it was entering from like 9:31 onwards. And so after I did like a couple of tests and some back testing, I saw that they would usually run like 10 to 20% within the first 2 to 3 minutes, and I started seeing like signs of the volume in the tape of when everybody was just like stampeding and buying, when that would start to run out and start to curve, and I would just get out of it just like that. So my trade with the promoted plays would last like I would enter at 9:31, I'd exit a minute and a half later. So it was like really quick. And so I was making 10 to 20% on it consistently. So I just kept doing that for a few months, or like for like 2 months until like March. Promoter hype died because market got like not hot, and with that all these plays like they would just gap up like maybe a few percent and then just slam down 20%. So I just like stopped doing that. So that's where I kind of made most of my money. I turned like around 3K into about like 10 11K in that 2 month time frame.
Like hold on for a second.
It's
wild.
It's insane.
Like it's genuinely mental. Like like that is no different from turning like $100 account into 1,000. Like you've 4 or 5x'd your account.
And you know what the funny thing is there? I actually felt like a fraud when I was doing all that. I didn't feel like I really deserved this money because it was really simple. Like of course like there's some like tracking with like volume stats and just keeping track of like these few promoters and trying to figure out some characteristics, because sometimes like you have to like check the OTC markets and check like market cap and see if it's like a small enough market cap, then they really run. If it's a big market cap and like the long-term chart is pretty diluted, then you don't want to play that stuff. So there's some skill involved in it, but I felt like it was almost too easy, and I felt like a fraud. I felt like I don't deserve this because it's just a promoted stock. Like what's the pattern? Just jump in and jump out.
but that's what I was saying to you before we jumped on here, and it's trading is 80% emotional, and it's like you didn't feel like you deserved it purely because you're only using 20% skill, and you're like, this doesn't seem right because I'm making money, solid money, and I'm not doing anything, but it's because you'd found a pattern. And all you had to do was go tick, 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 tick on your pattern. And like, I'm sure that's how, Jack Kellogg and Stephen Darks, and I'm sure they probably sit there and like, because they've done the work, now they're only using 20% skill. and they'll probably just see their pattern. Sorry, they'll just see their setup or their pattern or whatever, and just be like, "Oh, here's my dip buy, tick tick." Oh,
And I feel like at that point it's just like about correct sizing so that you don't lose
100%.
everything.
100%.
That's
Give me
definitely a
2
good point.
seconds.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm currently just getting absolutely blinded by the sun, so I just have to close the.
You're good.
But yeah, like I feel like at that point, those guys would sort of just be. They wouldn't feel like they deserve it because they'd just be like, oh, it's not easy. Like nothing in life's easy, but it just comes down to they've got it so automated and the system, they've got such a robotic system that they're just pressing buttons sort of at that point.
Yeah.
And for us,
when you say that, I think of like John Pompa and his systemized like trading. Like he has like this software built where he systemizes discretionary trading, and then he's created a software that tracks all of the stocks on the Nasdaq and the OTC land, and he gets like alerts of like when to enter and exit, just like his software does it. I mean, like he's still watching the charts and he's still doing it himself, but that's just like such god tier, right? Like you've automated. You don't even have to search for place. Like it's crazy.
That's like Stephen Ducks is doing that as well. Like he's I don't know if he's doing it at the moment, but I remember a year or two ago he was doing an interview and I think when he crossed a million or when he crossed, I think it was when he crossed a mil, and he was saying like I'm creating a software that's just going to trade for me, and I don't even have to trade, and it's just going to be all my setups and everything that I know and everything that I can do, just in software, and I won't have to trade. And it's like,
dang, that's crazy.
Shit, like that's like a whole nother level.
Dang. Yeah, I think recently also Tim Gratani said something about that. I think it was in one of his interviews, but it was a really recent interview that he was like following up to like a previous interview where he was talking about tracking data, and he's finally doing it. And he was taking the help of there's another trader called Matt Owens, Triforce trader, and he's just like all about like algorithms, and he trades like a variety of markets, not just like low cap pennyland. And so he's like taking help from him and like really systemizing like some of his setups, like multi-day breakouts, especially in Nasdaqs, like after like a period of consolidation. And like on Thinkorswim, he like with the help of his friend, he like created studies, or I guess created scanners that'll like automatically like find those plays and put it on his scanner, so he can like view it really quick. So it's really interesting that like the better you get, the more you want to like do less work to maintain that level of optimization in like your wealth building.
But I was just about to say that's how wealth works. Like it's the more you can. It's all in delegating, and it's like the more you can delegate work, the less you're working, and the more time you have to prioritize your decision making on things that matter. So if if say Papa John or whatever has a software that is finding stocks for him, alerting his entries and exits, and it's got everything in place. All he has to do then is control his emotions. So he's just he's so free in his mind and body because he's like, I've taken out 80% of my work. I now just have to control my emotions. I've got this in place.
I mean, even with the emotions, he mentions that he has like programmed like cells. He usually like sells in like 3 pieces. And like the software tells him like his system, like his charts, like his indicators, that tell him when to sell even. So he can really just take the emotion out of it as well. Just follow the system.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
And the funny thing is like the machine's not really doing anything. Like the software is not doing anything. It's like he's programmed everything. He's programmed all the rules. Everything came from his like knowledge, experience, mind. So it's like he's just enjoying the fruits of the labor at that point.
100%. And that's wealth in general, like no matter what industry you're in. Like, but that's even like Tim Sykes. Like the amount of work he put in to create the challenge, like he's probably put in 10,000 hours to create that challenge. Or even just say the DVDs. Say there's 1,000 hours in DVDs. He spent 1,000 hours making those DVDs. If he retired tomorrow, Like he's put in 1,000 hours of no monetary value where he's not getting paid for it, and then he can just never work again, and he'll have 10 people a day buying his DVDs, and he'll just be paid forever. And it's just creating, I don't know, it's creating dividends for yourself, I guess.
Yeah, and even like all the even like the stocks and trade platform, he's like a part of it.
Yeah.
What else? He also like anytime like his students put out like some kind of educational material that people have to pay for, and it's promoted through like Profitly, like I think the side gets a cut of it. Like Profitly gets a cut of it. So he's just making money left and right based on like his expertise, which is like awesome because like
100%.
he deserves it. He got there, so
crazy. But I think that's probably the key to success, is thinking in terms of putting in more work now to put in less work later. Pay the price now so you can pay any price later. And it's the same as like Stephen Ducks, where like he went MIA for like the last 6 to 8 months. And then he just popped up on my Twitter the other day after just being fully ghosted. And he's just like, yo, I'm back. 3 mil today.
Oh yeah, Triple AMC.
Like, what? And then like all these stories are just like him on boats hanging out for a week. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, 3 mil today, came back to trading. And then he's gone again on boats and just hanging out. And I'm like, you have figured this out to a point where you don't have to do anything anymore, because your setup, your perfectly ideal setup, is so specific that it might only come around once every 2 years. So realistically, you're doing 1 day's worth of work every 2 years. But he's probably put in 20,000, 30,000 hours to get to that point.
Yeah, no, he put in a lot of work for sure.
Oh, huge amounts.
Yeah, I remember that AMC day, like where it just like I think a lot of people had such good trades on it. Like everybody was trading it. Like John Papa, I know Kellogg made some crazy trade on it.
Yeah, he made a mil in like 3 days or something, didn't
he? Yeah, he's probably like longing the balance of AMC and then reshorting it now. He's probably doing all that. Yeah, and even like there's this one account that was like always posting like probably like a year ago, like it's the Short Bear. There's a Twitter account called the Short Bear, and I think Jack also refers to him when thinking about like how to like really size up and really take like max size on these plays.
I'm listening. I'm gonna follow them right now as we speak, because I'll forget about it.
Oh yeah.
The short bear?
The Short Bear, yeah. It's like a white and black profile pic of like a bear. Yeah. He like tweeted tweeted something like right around when AMC was happening. I feel like a lot of these players that kind of like left for the summer and are like coming back now because of all this craziness with AMC and just like Wall Street bets. I feel like they just see this play and they're like, I've got to be here for it. Like this is such a A+ setup, and they just like nailed it. And I saw like just like example of that, just like these Twitter accounts like waking up.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like
did you
trade? It makes me realize.
Did you trade AMC or GME or?
No, I haven't been trading in like a month or two, or like 2 to 3 months. Yeah. So my thing was I stopped in February once like all the craziness and OTCs died, because like I just felt like after I was playing all the panics, everything was like kind of dead. And I was just trying to figure out like new patterns and new ideas.
Yeah.
Once OTC really calmed down, that's when I kind of got introduced to crypto. I started. Yeah. I started venturing into crypto as well, because all the Bitcoin hype, when it went from like 10K to like 60K,
yeah,
or even 30, 40K, and then it ran up to 60K. I've been around like I had like some leftover, like some Bitcoin back from like 2017, like a couple $100 of it, and it turned into like $1,000. So I was like intrigued. So I was trying to figure out, what is this crypto sector like? is there any like good profitability here? Like what are patterns or what are ideas here? So I started really getting into that, especially when like OTC land died. I think it was really fun like learning just like whole new sector. Um, it's like outside of OTCs and Nasdaqs and Amex and this New York Stock Exchange, like just all of this, there's like a whole new like sector with like billions, trillions of dollars like flowing through. Like there's definitely a lot of potential to take big size on these trades.
Mm.
Um, so I started learning about crypto. I kind of like delved into that for a few months. I turned like the 11,000 into like about 15 to 16,000. And then I kind of like lost like half of it because of the crash now.
Yeah.
So I'm just like holding through. And the reason why I left all the money in like crypto was around like April. I was like preparing for like job opportunities as well because I need to make money as well. But that kind of fell through. So I'm like in this position where I'm still learning about the markets and I was still like watching every day and just like taking detailed notes and just like tracking different trades. With my money sitting in crypto for like a long 1 to 2 year plan, to like take profits once like Bitcoin goes past 100K in like I'd say like a year. So I'm kind of like I kind of have like my money stuck there, just kind of riding it out.
Mm.
But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at right now. It was kind of a weird position. I really didn't want to take all the money out of the account, but just seeing that like as I'm preparing for like this job and whatnot, I felt like I wouldn't be trading for a few months. So like yeah, I think I also like kind of mistimed things, but I learned a lot, so that's good, I guess. Cause like I was also like trading like Doge, like when I was going crazy, just
Yeah.
like playing like it was like a number four like multi-day breakout or yeah number three number four multi-day breakout for Doge. It happened a couple of times, and I was like, okay, let's profit off of this. So
Yeah.
I was like identifying like similar like Tim Sykes framework in crypto.
Do you find it works?
Um, does it work?
Like, do you find
Or yes?
his setups and his patterns, like his 7-step framework and stuff, do you find that it plays out quite similar?
Um, I would say like yes and no. Like crypto's different because like it has like this short-term bull cycle and then like a long-term bear cycle, like few-year bear cycle, and then like starts up again. So it's more about like timing your entries before the bull market really starts, and then just like taking profits at the end. Like there's like many ways to play it. Like for example, when crypto gets like super volatile, you don't need to like have like long-term asset, like a long-term like holding in it. You can just play like panic dip buys. For example, like I think when Bitcoin was really dropping, like a couple of weeks ago, just went like straight down from like 62K to like 40, 30, 35K. There are so many good dip buy opportunities, like so many good dip buy opportunities. For example, there's this one crypto called Matic. Uh, I forget. Yeah, Matic Polygon. You can just search it up with dollar Matic, Matic.
Yeah.
And this ticker had such a low amount of supply on sitting exchange. So any move that it was making was super volatile. And it was also super Matic is like I guess I actually don't exactly know what Matic is. I'm still studying up on that. But it was like it's like extremely popular platform and like a really useful platform. So the amount of supply sitting on the open exchange was super low because it was super in demand. And this ticker just like went supernova. And then it went from like a couple like 30 40 cents to like a few dollars, like $2. And it was coming back really hard. And I knew that since the supply is super low, this could be really volatile. And it went down to like 70 to 80 cents, started curling back up. Someone could have taken that dip buy, right? And then it shot up to like $2. Like it went up over 100% within like a few days. And then it dropped back. I'm telling you, like dropped back to like 80 cents, and then it jumped back up again. And this is all in a span of like 2 weeks. These are such clear dip buys just based on like the supply signature of that one particular ticker. So that was like super crazy to me seeing that. So there's definitely like opportunities in the crypto space, but it's not like all of Tim Sykes patterns, but like the dip buy is pretty consistent.
I find that
long-term holds.
VWAP is way more reliable in the crypto world compared to in the penny stock world. Like VWAP's obviously important for penny stocks, but I find with crypto and the same with the ASX as well, at the Australian Stock Exchange that I trade as well, like VWAP's so much more important. Like I remember watching Doge for about 2 weeks, and from a chick on Twitter, I can't remember who it was. She posted and she was just like, am I becoming delusional, or is Doge literally just bouncing off VWAP nonstop? And I watched it, I tracked it back about a week, and it literally, like, if this was VWAP, it just went like bounce, 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 bounce. And it didn't matter what VWAP was doing, it was just literally just like doing this for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And I was like,
that's crazy.
It cannot be this simple. Like there's no way that it is literally just bouncing off VWAP nonstop.
Wait, were you watching on like a 1 minute chart or like a 5 minute chart?
It would have been on a 1 or 2 minute chart. But like I remember, like it was genuinely like I wasn't even trading it because I was like, this isn't like this is manipulated somehow. Like it can't be this simple. Yeah. I remember I was at breakfast with my family, and it just got the better of me, and I was like, everyone was chatting, and I was like, I can't stop thinking about freaking VWAP holds.
And I pulled, thinking of Doge was jumping on the VWAP.
Yeah, literally. I jumped on my phone and, copped the usual shit of get off your phone, we're at breakfast, whatever. And I was just like, it was like one candle off VWAP, and I was like, fuck it, put $1,000 in it, bounce, went up. I was like, what the hell? Sold for like a couple of percent profit, and made like 50 to $80 or something. I was like,
yeah, nice.
No, that can't be right. And then I did it again, took a bit more size, did it again. I did it like 3 or 4 times, and I ended up making $500-600. And I was like,
jeez,
is something wrong here? And then I was like, when I get home tonight, I'm literally just going to sit up all night, and I'm just going to continually build my size. And I'm just going to stay up tonight and just trade the VWAP hold. And I got home, and it broke VWAP for the first time in like fucking 2 weeks. And then that finished. And I was like, damn. I was like, it's crazy how much certain cryptos hold VWAP, especially in like the ASX market as well, like that I trade. It's like, I think the biggest catalyst in the ASX market is a VWAP break. Like,
oh wow,
it's like it's crazy. Like I'll watch a stock for like 2 weeks, and there will be like it will literally cross VWAP by like 1 tick, and it's just gone. And I'm like, why?
Almost like a red-green level.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, but it's like it's so hard for me trying to trade US penny stocks and then a certain way and learning all the patterns and everything, and then jumping over to the ASX, and absolutely nothing works. And it's like a whole different, like, people value penny stocks. They actually trade off the company, whereas and like fundamentals and stuff. And it's like, whereas like in US penny stocks, it's like 99.999% of all penny stock traders don't even know what they're trading. And it's like in the ASX, I'm trying to trade off technicals, and everyone's like, yeah, but they just got like this acquisition and their earnings and everything. I'm like, you guys care about
you don't really need that.
What do you even care about this? They're like, what do you mean? It's like, this is definitely going to 5 cents. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually insane. Yeah, even in like crypto, there's like these specific pockets where like a certain pattern will work for a little bit, but just like the VWAP bounce, right? And then it'll suddenly like stop working, and then you're like, okay, now where am I at? Like, where's the stock headed? And then you start looking at the macro picture. Yeah, it's really weird. Just like how like stocks have a certain personality, like certain markets, and just like certain markets in general have like personality, and like certain time periods within like crypto have like a certain profitable strategy you can employ. So it's really interesting, just like different patterns popping up on like different time frames, and probably like it relates to like seasonality and like low cap land for like the US stock market. So yeah, that's pretty nuts. It's wild.
It's crazy, hey. So you're not trading at all at the moment, and you're you're waiting. So you're obviously trying to get a job at the moment. You don't have a job?
Yeah. Yeah. I've like, for example, I have like an interview like in a few days as well. Yeah. I'm like my parents really want me to get a job. They don't really like believe in this trading nonsense to them. But like my this is like my dream. Like this is what I really want to do. But for the time being, like to support myself, I do need this job.
Will
So
the job allow you to trade?
um, I'm not so sure about that at the moment.
More
Because
more or less like hour wise. Like, is the job a nine
it
to
would
five?
probably be, yeah, it'd probably be 9 to 5. Um, See, this is where my issue is, right? I feel like I can be really good at certain strategies, and I can really like milk them for what they're worth for a bit. Um, but then like some I make some like stupid error where I just like lose a good amount of it, and then like I have to like repick myself back up. And often that comes from like I found it often comes from not having that patience to be like, oh, this is like a long journey. Like just take it easy. You don't have to like oversize. You don't have to prove your parents wrong, or you don't have to like prove society that you can make money in this way. Like sometimes I felt like the pressure, especially like when I was like getting more and more money to like really compound returns like super quick so that I can really make the progress and be like, hey, like this is a viable career option. Like, hey, like I can make a living off of this. Like I don't need to work anywhere. I felt like that pressure kept building up, and every time I got near like 10 to 11K, I could never like break that barrier because I kept making a really stupid error where I like oversize. And of course, that day, that pattern that usually works doesn't work. I take the big loss. And then I have to like pick back up and continue marching. And I feel like I haven't really gone out of that state. Uh, well, now it's different because I've just kind of like thrown it in crypto and just waiting for it to grow. Um, but like back then when I was like continuously trading, I felt like I myself wasn't really ready to trade. Like maybe I knew some patterns, maybe I knew how to be profitable, maybe I knew about risk management. I studied that. I've studied like a lot of trading books on that. But like for some reason, like my emotions kept getting the better of me, and it always ran me into like big losses and setbacks. And so I think I need to get that consistent source of income for a little bit so that I'm above like a little bit above PBT, and then I can come back with like a really clear head and be like, okay, like I don't have to force anything. Yeah, there's no pressure. Like I don't have to force anything. Like this is not make it or break it time. Like it's not like I need this money to live right now. Like I can be like more slow and I can be more consistent. Um, yeah, whenever I think of the mindset that I need to adopt, I think of like Mariana's mindset. Like she took a full year to like really like grow her style, and then she like absolutely destroyed OTCs like November to February, and then she made a million. Like she was only up like 100K up until that point, and then like when everything like coincided, like she wasn't like trying to get there, right? It was just like her pattern showing up over and over again, and she was just taking profits, and that's how she grew her account exponentially there. So it's like I just need to get into that mindset, Like whenever I get profits and like grow, I'm just like like something like you said, like 80% psychology, right?
I'm listening. I'm listening to a lot of Kim, like the Wall Street coach, Kim and Curtin lately, and one of the things that I actually learned from her just a couple of days ago was she was saying like after a big loss, it's important to take time off, reset, recalibrate, and go again. Don't try and revenge trade. But she said what people don't think about, and one of the biggest things that happens is that traders that get, especially for guys, is we might have a win and then another win and then a third win. And each win that we have, we get more and more like our testosterone builds. We feel like we're the man. We're like, we've got this, like this is, and we start pumping full of testosterone and feel invincible. And that's where things go really downhill. And you might take 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 wins. And by that point, you're like, I'm Superman.
I got it.
And then you take a 50 times the amount loss because you're Superman. And it's it's crazy thinking about that. But going back to what you said about Jack's girlfriend Mari, and you said like she didn't care about growing that account. She just waited, and when it all just coincided, it coincided. And my trading journey is going quite the same, because I'm self-aware enough to know that I will force trades, and I will force things, and I will try and make, like, I have all of the worst qualities to be a trader, all of them.
Yeah.
I know it. Like, I'm fully aware of it. But like the way that I'm combating that is that, I'm not sure. I think you commented on it. I like made a TikTok on it the other day. It's like, my whole goal in trading isn't to make $100,000, and it's not to make $1 million. Literally, my trading goal is to get to 10,000 hours of education. But by the time I've got to 10,000 hours, I'm sure money will have come. But like, for me to take care of my own emotions and to keep money out of it, I am fully focused on getting to hourly goals, so that like, I'm hell bent right now on reaching 500 hours worth of study time and education time, which I'm at like 460 something hours worth. And then, it'll be 1,000 hours. And, I'm like, I don't even care about the money. Like, I've got a good job and I've got some savings, and like, I'm not in a great financial position, but I'm in enough of a financial position where I'm like, I don't need $50,000 trading profits tomorrow. But what I do need is, I do need 50 hours of study time by next month.
Right.
And it's like those things will just coincide. So like, same as with Mari, like, she was focused on spending the year getting educated and getting everything sorted. And she didn't even, could be wrong, but it didn't seem like she cared about the money. But then after she was so focused on this like education goal, when she finally was getting towards her education goal, she turned and was like, holy shit, I've made $1 million. Like, and I think that's like, for me personally, that's how I'm going about it. Because if I'm not focused on education, I will just be like, buy. Like, I know what I'm like, and that's the only way for me to combat it. But it's just funny, because I feel like I relate to that in the way that she has done it, because that's what I'm forcing myself to go through.
Yeah, same here. I really want to reach that point where like I put in the time and I'm seeing that steady progress, so that like I'm in the right headspace. I'm in the right like place in my life where I can like execute bigger trades, like take bigger sides, have like a clear picture in mind of what the setup is, what my risk parameters are, because I've done it like 1,000 times to get there, right? I forget how many trades, but Mariana said like she took like 1,000 trades to get to that situation where she was really, really taking on bigger size. It's like I really want to be in that position where I've had all the experience, so that like the trades that really matter for making those big leaps, like I'm in the right headspace to do so. So yeah, definitely.
Well, I think she's I remember when she hit 1 million, they were showing, like, I was having a look at her profit and everything, and I'm pretty sure Tim Sykes said like, she's the person at $1 million who's done it the quickest with the least amount of trades. And I think that goes to show that she's been focusing on her education primarily, because like you just said, like, she's put in so much time that she doesn't need to take 10,000 trades to get there, because the trades that she's taking are so well executed and so well prepared for that, she only takes 10 trades to get to 10,000 versus someone like me or you that's taking 1,000 trades to get to 10,000.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like narrowing your focus and just really focusing on your process to get like the best, I guess, maximize your results there. Yeah. And like, I remember like her profit factor was super, super high, meaning that she was not taking like huge losses to wipe out like weeks of gains, or like even just days of gains. Like,
well, she was taking like $20 profits for like, $20 losses for like $5,000-$10,000 gains. And I was like, you literally don't even have a risk reward. It's just,
she doesn't. Yeah.
It's just buy and cut. And it's like, 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 do you even have a risk, or is it just, if it drops below whatever you bought it for, cut it? Like, it's crazy.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember like trying to trade OTC dip buys like that, but I kept getting frustrated because like I kept cutting it, and like of course it would go lower, and it was the right
Then it will
cut, but I
run.
didn't have money to re-enter because of the day trade thing. That's why I really want to be above PDT when I'm trading like hot OTC market. But yeah, that's insane, right? Like her strategy is just like pure panic dip buys, whether it's like Nasdaq or I mean that's what she's like executing like big trades on. I remember her like GME trade, so she's still doing the dip buy even in Nasdaq line. But like she just loves to just get in right when it's turning, and if it's a fake out, she exits and then retries again, and she gives it a couple tries. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But when on the upside, when she's properly sized and experiencing the upside, she's just getting like 3, 4, 5 extra risk, and that's probably where profit factor is coming from. It's like really hammering down on the risk reward and her strategy. So it's crazy.
It gets me so excited even just like talking
Yeah.
about like it's so weird.
Same
Like
here.
for me, like I don't know, like obviously like this is like the first time we've ever met, and really we've never really spoken before, but like I come from a life of extreme sports and like, you know, I skydive and race motocross and like risk my life every day. And it's like the thing that gets me all excited my whole life. And now like we're talking about like candlesticks and like risk reward. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, what?
But it's funny, like even when you're working within your risk parameters, it's like there's so much upside on some of these plays. It just feels like you still feel the adrenaline rush sometimes. Like you still experience those highs. Yeah, that's
Can
insane.
I ask you like, when you're playing, like playing, I think of this as a game. I love it. I think of everything as a game. But when you're playing the stock game, or whenever you're playing whatever game, what is your risk tolerance? So say you're buying a panic dip buy, and it's $1 stock, and it drops to 60 cents in the morning, and you buy in at on the way as it starts curling back up, and you buy in at say 64 cents. Are you just risking the low? Like what's your risk tolerance? Like how do you work out your risk reward?
Right. So I have like the way I've categorized dip buys is like there's like 3 or 4 different types of dip buys for me. So like one of the dip buys is like and I have like different rules for each one. So like one of the dip buys is like, so let's say like Ian's UC for example is having like 2 green days in a row. On a third day as well, it's like pretty green, and suddenly like it's like a flash panic like on a green day, right? Just like suddenly just comes down, touches like VWAP, and then kind of bounces back up and then continues on its merry way. So like that's a particular entry I'll take, and then there I'll just risk right below that level, just like cut it if it goes red. And no retries on that one. Like if it kind of dips below VWAP and reclaims and it starts coming back up, I usually don't play that. It's just like one entry and then take it. Second type of dip buy is this like max panic dip buy, where it's just like red. Like it has to drop 20 to 30% on the day, and it has to like be a good distance away from VWAP. I remember like Kyle Williams also explaining a video where he was like dip buying MMNFF, and he like
I
it was such a
love that
big
you
loss.
struggled to say that because I
And
refuse to say it. Whenever they're on webinars, I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it. I'm not saying it. I can't say
Yeah,
it.
it's a tongue twister. MMNFF. Yeah, he was saying like when the stock was panicking, like it was barely separating from the VWAP, so that was kind of a bad sign. So I kind of like take that into account, and I also like look at its history, like how has it reacted? Is it pretty clean mover? Does it go up? Does it go down? And then just like the turns, are they clean? So it's like I take all that into account. So anytime there's like a max panic, I'll really size into that and try to take the upside, and I'll be more patient for the upside to come. Like sometimes I'll hold through like little mini dips for like it's eventually touch VWAP. So like I'm taking like 20 to 25% moves on it. So it's like how I'm categorizing it as like a really perfect optimal dip buy. Another type of dip buy that I like, and for that one I'm taking bigger size. I'm really respecting the risk. I'm putting it like 4 or 5 cents below it. And then it's like one shot entry and then take take profits. I'll like scale out, or like I'll just wait until it goes to VWAP if it's like strong. It's at that point it just depends on tape. And then the third type of dip buy is like the choppy dip buys, where it's like I know the stock does not have clean level 2 turns, a lot of fake outs, like just based on how it moves, like when there's demand behind it on like the previous green days. Like I can kind of get the sense that the stock is probably not gonna have like a clean dip buy, or like it's just the type of market where like all the dip buys, they're all like choppy. So then I have like another pattern called a delayed dip buy. I just kind of like named it, where like I'll wait for this first, second, third fake out, and then when it starts like kind of forming a little triangle where it like stops, making continuous lows, and it starts like once it's made the triangle, it starts like perking above it. That's like my delayed dip buy entry, and I'll risk like the bottom of the whole structure. And so that's also a heavy position. I'll size in heavy, because like thinking about it, like everybody in Tim Sykes chat who's like just like dip buying at every point is like getting washed out, and then finally the dip comes and everyone like chases it. So that's like the psychology behind it. It's just like, am I there to recognize that this is a delayed dip buy setup, where like all the early longs are just gonna get washed out. And so that's where I'll take the size, because they'll run on air, like all the sellers are gone. There's only people who want to buy it. People who like chase the stock because they missed the couple day run, they're gonna be like, oh, it's finally going green. It's finally like, not going green, but it's finally like showing like real strength. Let me buy. There's pattern buyers.
You got all the revenge traders that have tried all of the fake outs on the way down.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, this is the third time. This is not gonna bounce, right? And then it starts like really changing its structure and starts perking up, and they're like, oh shit, this is the bottom. Let's get in. And there's those people. There's pattern dip buyers, people who are like trying to nail the dip buy on the way down and trying to sell for like quick 10%. It's them trying to enter there right there. So it's just like a lot of like buyers, and then all the washout like longs that have like suffered a lot, they've all sold. So there's not many sellers. So it's just like the delayed dip buy is just like a really cool pattern, where I'm just like sizing heavy and just taking the move to VWAP. So there's like, and then there's like the second red day panic dip buys. They're like smaller panics sometimes. They can be like big panics, but yeah, the panics will generally fall within those 3 categories for me. Just like depending on history, distance from VWAP, percent down on the day, just like the structure of it intraday, and like how it's level 2 and how its green days have been passed, or like if it's a previous runner, also how it hasn't panicked. It's just like I take all that into account, and then like multi-day like levels, like where like critical levels are, to try to predict where it's gonna bounce. So yeah, it's like similar to Mari in that sense.
Do you know why you're going to be a profitable trader? Is because you are so focused on what other traders are doing.
Yeah, thank you.
You're entering trades based off of thinking about what the other traders in the trade are doing and or going to do, which is something that I think I need to work on a lot, because I don't think about that.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've been that person where like I get frustrated because like I keep kind of taking paper cuts on the way down, and then eventually I'm just like, this is a delayed dip buy setup. Just wait for everyone like me to get frustrated and flushed out, and then me. It's like I've been in that position, so many times. Yeah, that's an interesting note. Yeah,
it's funny. It's so relative to what you're saying, because like because I can only be in the market for the afternoon, or for the even though it's my freaking early morning, but like the market's afternoon, I'm going for breakouts, like afternoon breakouts and multi-day breakouts and stuff like that. And I'm getting so wildly frustrated because it'll break and I'll buy it, and it'll break, it'll like fake out a dip, and I'll sell for a loss, and then it'll come back up and break it, and I'll buy it, and it'll fake out and dip, forming a lower high. And I just keep taking these paper cuts, and then right on my third or fourth one, I'm like, I'm down $100, $200, $300 a day, and it'll go for it again, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm out. And then it'll break, and it'll start faking.
No.
And I'm like, I'm so over this. I'm so glad I didn't. And then it'll just run. And I'm like,
yeah.
It takes everything in me not to get FOMO'd in and just to buy that run. And I think, like, thinking about the way that you trade now, I should just wait for a delayed breakout where I'm starting to lose my mind on I'm not even taking profits. All I'm taking is paper cuts. Like my setup at the moment is paper cuts. Fantastic. Like not a great setup, but like, I feel like I should, if I, just wait for these breakouts to break out and get second or third run at it. Like I'll sorry.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I remember like John Papa when he was like really early on talking about like his first profitable setup, which was like the OTC multi-day breakout. He always said that like, I'm gonna wait for it to actually break out and then like let all the chasers kind of like settle down and let it come down a little, and that's like my entry once it's like holding it. So that reminds me of that, just like being really patient with like John Papa, just like being really patient with it. It's not like succumbing to the hype like right before the breakout or like after the breakout, just like letting it settle, letting it confirm, and then he takes his entry.
Yeah.
And then like he's confident enough in his setup.
That as well. Steven Johnson doesn't buy breakouts. He lets it break out, and then it comes back down. And if it holds that high, he'll buy the second run of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Roland Wolf's also a really good example. He's like the definition of that. Like always dip buying really strong stocks. That's like he's so good at it. Just dip buying strong, breaking out charts. Yeah. And also like one thing I learned from John Papa was like I used to be like really early on, like when I had like the $5,000, I would just like scalp a lot, and like I feel like I want I want to like focus on like the 1 minute chart, like every single movement, like, and just like take like a few cents here, a few cents there, because I'm like, oh, the demand's coming, the volume's coming in. Let me just jump in really quick and sell like 10 cents later. But like he opened my eyes to just like really focusing on like the longer term like setup, like what is the big picture here? Because sometimes I look at his profit chart and it's like he takes like one entry and then like he's not scalping it, he's letting it play out, he's letting his thesis play out, and that's how he's sometimes capturing like 10-20% of these like really big like late day squeezer, for example, like where he's taking advantage of like all the shorts where shorting every pop on the stock that's below VWAP, and then suddenly has like at like 2:30 p.m. has that VWAP perk, and shorts are getting uncomfortable because like they're expecting this all day fader to happen, and this is like a multi-day runner on like a daily time frame. It's like a multi-day runner, it's just consolidating, it's breaking out, and maybe it's made his big move and it's like looking like it's fading, and then suddenly demand comes in, the volume comes in. He'll like enter like near VWAP once the volume starts coming in and starts confirming. And like you'll think like, oh wait, that's such a bad entry because like, I mean, the stock's been down all day. Like, isn't he just chasing? Isn't it near high day? And then just like breaks out and goes another 20%. It's like that. It's like that long-term daily picture of like who's in the stock, like who's getting uncomfortable, who's underwater now. What do they have to do? Do they become sellers or buyers? And then he's taking advantage of that. Sellers trying to reshort as it keeps going up, thinking that let me like cover at a lower price, but the stock's not giving him the chance. Then the chance to do that because it keeps ripping up, and that's how you see those late day squeezers just go boop, 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 and it just like as one parabolic shot, and like he's willing to wait for that move, and then he's taking the profit because that is like pattern. That is like the late day squeeze setup for him. He's not looking to like, oh, it just broke high day really quick, let me like take my profits. He's letting the short squeeze out, and like that's the pattern. And if it doesn't work, he's getting out for like near break even. It's not like one chart pattern. It's not like on that day that one ticker is setting up like that and he needs to make or break on that. It's not like that. It's like there's like 20 or 30 of these like a month, and he's just trying to capture the ones that really work. And he's taking the full setup and then just cutting it loose up. It just like comes back to break even. That's like one thing I really like learned from it. Just really focusing on the big picture and then trying to capture like those intraday moves based on that.
I think that's my downfall is the is the bigger, looking at the bigger picture. Just like you said, he's got so much patience for the bigger picture and so much patience for those late day squeezes. But that's what makes it hard, is to have that patience. And it keeps continually going back to what we're saying about like trading is 80% emotions, like, and behavior. Like, I don't have the patience for that, or I don't yet. And that's what's killing me, because I don't know. Like,
so like, let me ask you a question. So like within like some kind of like breakout or like squeezing setup where you're expecting it to just like fire and go and like all the volume to rush in, do you like enter like kind of predicting it, and then like you enter with the size such that like once it breaks out and goes a little beyond that, you're like, let me take profits. That's a good trade right there.
the way, kind of. Well, the way
are you like taking profits early is like another way to phrase it, I guess.
So I'm doing both. So basically, like, completely hypothetical. Let's just say the stock and it hits 60 cents, and 60 cents is the breakout. I will get in at 62 cents, risking 60 cent as my risk, and I'll try and take 5-10% profits. And I'm in a stage where I'm trialing everything. So like, I will go through. I went through a stage where I was scaling out. So like, I'd have certain risk levels, and if I'd take profits at 68 cents, and then I'd take some profits at 72 cents, and I'd take some profits at 75 cents, and I'd be out. And if it kept running, that's fine. I'm out. Like, I've scaled out. But commissions absolutely kill me. Like,
oh yeah.
I'm not sure. Did you see my Twitter post about commissions the other day?
Yeah.
Like I was trading with $600.
Yeah.
And my commissions were $20 to get in and 20 to get out. So
I remember, like, was there like 4 different like entry exit, like 15, 12, 15, 15, something like that?
Yeah. And I was like so it was it was $60. So I had to make 10% to break even. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, so
that's for OTCs, right?
Yeah. So
I was trading OTC.
Yeah. So I've stopped scaling in and out, because even though that's what works better for me, I'm just losing money doing it. I'm going backwards, even though I find more consistency doing that. I'm just going backwards with how much it's costing me to do it.
And the crazy thing is, like, if you 10x like your position size, like I'm saying, like, once you have the account, like, those fees are pretty negligible, because it's like what, $100, but you're making a few thousand. It's like, wow. It's like, it really doesn't matter. But when you have a small account, it's such a pain.
Yeah, and
it's something to take into account.
It's like you said before, and you're like, I don't have the money to have a risk. And that's like where I'm at, where I'm like, I do not have the account. Like I said about that 60-cent breakout, I'm risking 2 cents. And if it drops below that 2 cents, I'm like, my account hurts. I'm like, get out right now. And that's where it kills me, because it might drop to 59, 58 cents, and I'll get out. And, I've taken, let's just say like I've taken like a $60 loss, and then I've paid $20 to get in commissions and $20 to get out. So I've taken $100 loss for it then just to rip. And I'm like, kills me.
It's so hard. Yeah, that's what I found, man. Like, when I take like any like position, especially in OTC below like 1,500, before like below like $1,200, like I always struggle so much, because I struggle with cutting it. That was a really issue. Like, I like hold on to a stock when it like kind of dumped below my risk level, and I'd be like, bro, like, this has to work. I'm used to day trade, like, this has to work, right? And then I end up taking a bigger loss. So like, just to remedy that, I was just taking like $1,200 positions, even though that was like pretty big for my account. I was just taking it, and I was willing to cut it at that point, because it was a significant amount of a day trade. Like, it would cost me like a whole day trade out of 3. So I was like, let me just like find a good stock, find a good entry, put it in, risk 100, and then just like try to ride it out. So I guess that's how I solved it. I was like, I can't take the like sub $1,000 position anymore. Yeah.
See, I've got the exact opposite problem, where like, it was funny when I first started the challenge, and started learning about all this, it was just like, your biggest problem is going to be learning and cut losses and cut losses quickly and cut losses quickly. And that was all I heard. And I have done like, I am like, not to be cocky, but like, I can cut losses so good, but I cut losses too good, where like, it'll like I said, I've got such a tiny risk because like, I don't have the account to have more of a risk. And I've got such a tiny risk, and like, it'll tap that risk, and I'm like, oh yeah, gone. And I've got zero problem cutting it. But then there's my problem where, because
you
I
just take the consecutive losses,
quickly,
right?
it's just, I am so consistent at taking losses. I'm like, I'm finding that all I need to, like, if I'm looking at all my trades, I'm like, all I needed to do was just have a bit more of a risk, but I don't have the account to do that. Like,
right.
So I'm just, and if I drop my position size anymore, it's not even worth me taking the trade with the commission. So I'm like I said, I have to make more than 10% on the trade to just to break even, which is like,
that's ridiculous. That's like a good trade right there. 10%.
Yeah, huge. And that's what I mean. Like, it's, yeah, I think cutting losses quickly is like, for me at the moment, that is my rock and a hard place. I'm like, do I risk taking bigger losses that I can't afford on the hope that my history will continue and it'll run. But
all right, so I faced this problem before, and like what I did was especially like when the OTC market was hot, I just entered like a position, right? I would hold it like the whole day. I would let it do its thing, like, and then I'd hold it overnight, and then like let it do a thing the next day. I just like, it's almost
mind blowing to me. That is mind blowing. I couldn't imagine holding a stock for a whole day. Couldn't even imagine. Yeah. Continue though. Continue. You'd hold it for the whole day and for the next overnight.
Yeah, because I remember like I remember heard somebody just like be like, I'll let it do its thing, right? Until like I heard Dan Irish talk about it. Like recently he started like letting stocks really play out for their full moves, because earlier he always identified himself as a really good scalper, right? He entered a perfect position and like risk like right around like break even. And when it ripped and when his thesis worked, he would just take profit super early. So it was like he was taking a lot of paper cuts, like those $100 losses, $100 losses. But like when the stock worked, he wasn't like letting it really play out to counteract all of those like paper cuts. So what he started doing was like, if it starts working, I'm just gonna YOLO. I'm just gonna like take my hands off the keyboard, let it play out, come back like 10 minutes later, and hopefully it's gone up. Like he would just like straight up gamble. Like he would use the element of time and let the volatility play through a time period, and then come back to it and be like, okay, let me just take profits now, or like let's see if it can squeeze up more.
But there's my question. Like, obviously it works, especially for him. But my question is like, at that point, then you don't have an exit plan. At that point, then
time is your exit plan. At that point, you have to wait. You have to be patient, I guess. There, yeah.
Yeah, but like, where's your risk at? Like, yeah, I know.
I mean, I guess risk would be like 3 to 5%, like somewhere around there, like probably like 3 to 6% at the most. Like that's how he was playing it, and then he'd let it ride up like 10, 20%. Like even 25, 30. Like if it really shoots up, like he'll keep the position on. And like even like when I look back at his charts, you would think like, oh, like that was such a big surge. I wonder if he took profit there. But he doesn't take profit there. He lets it like kind of do his thing where it like balances out and then just like keeps going. But sometimes it'll fail. Like it'll peak up like 10, 15%, and it'll start looking like it'll go for the next move, but then it starts breaking down. That's when he takes the profit, when it's no longer proving his thesis. So I found that interesting. He was like, there's a point where he wasn't even scaling out. He was just like, I'm gonna wait for this trade to tell me that it's not gonna work anymore, and I'm gonna take my profits there. So he would literally like let it just ride.
Yeah.
And that was a weird mind shift change for me because like I was really anxious whenever I entered a trade because I was like I need this morning spike to work right now and I need it to move up 5% so I can take my profits and then let it come down and let it do it. I don't care anymore. I made my profits. I made my trade. I've gotten into the pattern. Let me see what it does next.
Stephen
So I
Johnson
started
this as well. He's huge on it, and he's like, I remember he said it in one of the beginning Steady Trade podcasts where he said, I started when it got to wherever when I was like getting anxious because my profits were getting up there and I didn't know what to do. He goes, I just take 50% off. So I just take 50% of my profits, and that way I can let the other 50% do what, even if the other 50% goes to zero, I'm still at break even because I've taken my profit. And like I started doing that, and I was like, that helped emotionally so much because I would take my profit, my 50% of my size profit, whether it be, $10, $100, whatever it be. And the other half of my position size, I just let it do what it needed to do. If it kept going up, I was like, this is fantastic. If it started dropping, it was like, oh, I need to get out. And then I'd be like, oh, actually, it doesn't matter what this does, I'm still in profit. And it almost became like paper trading. So when you take your 50% size, because you've already profited and it doesn't matter anymore, it kind of becomes like paper trading, and you forget that it's your money. And it's just
you get like unemotional about it. You're like, let it do its thing, I'm taking the risk off the table. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, that's crazy.
So
that's what I started doing with those like strong multi-day runners in OTC. Like when like the market was hot, I just like enter and be like I'd enter on the morning spike. Like I just like watched because I had the experience of watching like promoted stocks, just like the volume rushing in on the level 2. I'd kind of do the same thing for like a morning spike on a strong stock that's gapping up. I'd like enter in the morning and I just let it do its thing. And if it starts like coming back to my entry and looks weak, I'll just cut it. But that might be like 30 minutes later or like an hour later. Like if the whole move just failed. But then like sometimes it was just like, and like at that point I'm just risking like around break even like 2% loss, right? But like there are many stocks that just like kept holding throughout the day, and then that's when I like really let them run and even add to my position on the consolidation. And then so like I've entered on the morning spike because I see the strength. And in the morning spike, if it starts like dipping below my level again, just like Mariana's dip by it, I'm just like cutting it for break even. So I'm entering on the spike, I'm entering on strength, letting it squeeze up, letting it balance out, letting it consolidate. And if it starts dipping, okay, I'll exit if it kind of breaks my wrist. But if it keeps going, I'll add to it. And that's how I was like scaling into like those really big multi-day winners. Where like I'm recognizing like there's so many like promoters. Like also another thing is like I've gotten better at monitoring social media. When everybody's just like LTNC army, let's get this going. There's so many like 20K, 30K follower like Twitter hype accounts that like when they keep beating the drums and I keep seeing the strength in the stock, like it's not holding up. And like even in the morning spikes when like every little dip, like when you think it's like the end of it, starts getting eaten up and the volume keeps churning and churning and churning. It's like there's just some mania behind this, right? It's like there's no reason for me to take profit because I'm seeing the strength in the tape. Like it's just gonna keep shooting up. So I just kind of got better at being patient by taking smaller size, taking this $1,000 position and being like, I'm willing to risk like $50, $100 if it like kind of breaks through. But then I'm holding it because like these stocks showing that they're strong, so I'm just gonna hold it. It reminds me of there's this one. Do you know who Penny Cons is on Twitter?
Penny Cons?
Yeah.
No.
So he's not like a Tim Sykes student, but like he's like a millionaire trader. He's only like 21 years old. I think he and Jack are good friends too. Like he sometimes like refers to him as like a really profitable trader that he usually talks to. And so he one time, I think it was in like a recent interview, he was just saying like, especially when TSNP, like it was one of the strongest stocks in the stock market for like a few months, right? It just kept gapping up every day. And what he did was he kept longing it like into the overnight gap up. And he did that for like 40 consecutive days because he kept gapping up every single day. So it just broke every rule in the rule book, right? Like why the hell are you why the hell are you longing this stock? Like, it's been up so much, but it kept working, so he kept doing it and doing it and doing it. So I mean, like in their interview, he was just like, screw what everybody else was telling me what the rules were. Like this pattern is proving profitable right now, so let me just keep doing it. So yeah, I guess sometimes like the patterns can break rules, and you can like adapt to it and just really let the winners ride out.
Yeah.
But it's really hard because like when you first start out, it's like you're risking tight, and then you're like trying to get out of the trade when it starts dipping, because you don't want to take that loss. You're like trained to cut losses quickly. But if you take profits too early on the upside, it just like really messes up the risk reward. You can't make back the paper cuts, right? So yeah, I've struggled with that a lot too. That's why I stopped scalping.
I think yeah. I think a lot of you really made me think here. This is exactly why I wanted to chat, because I love seeing other perspectives, because now I'm rethinking everything that I do. I think for me, what I need to do is stop scalping, because exactly what you've just explained is my problem. But like the problem is I can't do overnight trades because I can't get there for market open. So if I take, it's like I started doing, or I'm doing, I'm trialing first green day patterns with paper trading, and it's working well. But the problem is that I can take my first green day, I can take my position on an afternoon on the first green day, but then if it doesn't follow the first green day pattern, and the next day it's morning spikes and then it just tanks, I won't even know
You're not there,
that I'm losing until 2 p.m. that afternoon, when the market's, near close, and I'll get up at 3 a.m. to check what the afternoon's doing, and I'm down 50%
so
going.
You're playing only OTCs, right?
Pardon?
You're playing only OTCs, right? So like you're not really playing Nasdaqs when you're even paper trading, or
Mostly OTCs, yeah.
So when you're saying like you're paper trading and then like testing out first green day, you're only saying like for OTCs. You're not really considering Nasdaqs, like in paper trading even.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, not a reason, I guess. Like, just interesting, because like sometimes like the OTC first green days, that like just sometimes they just don't gap up. So I definitely understand that issue. I'm just wondering like, so like you're back, you can be at your desk at like 1 or 2 p.m., right? Or
Yeah.
on Eastern Standard Time. So you would need to identify like the strongest stocks that are holding, consolidating all day, especially in OTC land, and just long it, and then hope that it like closes strong at the end of the day, so that you have to take profits. You cannot overnight at all. And then so you're risking like right a couple cents below it, and you're like, if it starts failing or if it starts doing anything wacky, I'm getting out.
Basically.
Yeah. So I guess in that situation, because a lot of stocks will do a lot of OTC stocks, like when they're having their first screen, they will have like a lot of fake outs into the close, and then they'll start ripping back up, like really they can like really test your risk sometimes.
Well,
so I guess
RSHAN, like Russian.
Russian, yeah.
That's every ticker I say it, like TNSP. To me, that's Tiznip or something. Like I have to say the ticker. But yeah, like Russian. Like I took a $160 loss on that yesterday because it was strong all day, exactly what you said, and then it broke out in the afternoon, faked out, and dipped. I sold for a loss, and then literally in the last 20 minutes of the day, ripped back to its highs for close.
That's probably exactly what I was referencing.
And then gapped up, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna kill someone! Like this is brutal."
Yeah. Let me pull up the chart really quick just to look for myself. Oh yeah, I remember you had a tweet about this, right?
Yeah, I put a tweet up.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Oh yes, yes. You're buying like at like 3 p.m. ish or something, like 2:30, 3 p.m. Something
Yeah,
like that.
I can't. Yes, something like that.
Yeah, that was a yeah. The stock was strong. Jeez.
I'll have to see what I did, but yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. So you're just trying to bank on the continued upside into the close and then take profits. Hopefully it doesn't dip.
Basically, yeah.
That really works though. Like Tim Sykes does that all the time, right? He dip buy it as it's showing strength into the close and then sell it on like a rip or two, like after it rips like a couple times. Mm, that's a good pattern. But I guess you'd have to really narrow your focus and for the ones that are really just showing the highest volume, like multi-day runner.
Mm.
You'd have to really narrow your list down because like a lot of the stocks, like if it's just like a pure first green day and it's just like has like no history really, it's really like a toss up whether to get to the close because it will just test your risk a couple of times. So it has to be like really strong. It has to be like almost like a perfect chart where like it has an opportunity to just like cascade into the close. Um, so I guess you have to really narrow your focus. And like if you're at your desk by like 1:30, right?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
What if you buy into like any kind of consolidation and then just hold it into the close? Like let's see what Russian did.
Risking what? Like risking
Risking just like
risking
risking the
buying?
consolidation level. Risking consolidation level or just like a little prior low. Like for example, Russian on the 616, right? Like yesterday.
Go 6:15 because I've got that chart up on my phone now.
615.
Oh, sorry, the 15th day of the 6 month, because all my dates are backwards to yours.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. 15 6, right? 15 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in India, so like the dates are kind of the same just like that.
Yeah.
Like it would be day and then month. Um oh, so 15 6. Let me pull up the multi-day chart. 15 6. All right, so this is like the breakout day. Breakout level was like 1 cent. 1 cent. Interesting. Let me see if I have any notes on the stock real quick. Yeah, I haven't really researched the stock. Okay, the only thing I would say with this one was on the 15th, it's really approaching that psychological 1 cent level. So I would have been I only would have like really dip bought this on consolidation like really close to VWAP because like it's really close to the 1 cent mark. So it might take like the next morning for it to really go through it because it's already made a big move from six
Yeah, well, it's
six to
up
1.
35% on the day or something.
Yeah, no, it was up a lot. Jeez, it's up 50%. It was up 55%. So that's like I would say like that's like such a big move and like the 1 cent psychological mark, I'd say it might just swizzle like for a few days or just like morning spike over it tomorrow and hold a breakout level perhaps. So I would have been I don't think it would have ran like into the close. So I wouldn't have taken this up, I guess. I mean that's easy saying it like now.
Hindsight's a bitch. It'll get you every time.
It does, yeah. But I'd just say like even when it dips below, okay, you could have done this right. It dipped into the 2 p.m. and then right at 14:08, right at 2:08, there's like a volume spike and there's like volume that entered. So maybe just enter with that.
At 208, where it's sort of where the bigger green candle is.
Yeah, that's when like Yeah, and even if you look at the volume, that's for like kind of volume part. So that's just telling you that it's like strong and it's not really. It has a good chance of holding that 82, 83 cent level and
Yeah.
keep pushing over one. So it could have. So you could have just longed into the 9 cent area, risking like 4 to 5%, and then hold for a push over one into end of close. So that would give it you like 5% risk to like, if it goes over one, that's 11% right there. Like 11 to 15%, 10 to 15%. Like 2 to 1, 3 to 1 risk reward right there. Like because it's showing strength, like longing into like 88, 89, 90 cent level, and hoping for a push above. Like that works.
Yeah.
In this case, like it didn't. I guess yeah, it did, and it didn't even gap up. Wow. Oh yeah, yeah. So the next day it just like holds like the 8 cent level and just keeps going. Yeah, that's crazy. So I guess in that situation you could just long the 90 cent, the 9 cent area, and hope for a high day break.
Sorry, I'm getting work messages as well.
Oh, you're good.
I'm probably gonna have to shoot as well because I'm still currently working. Kind of.
Oh, okay.
We got rained out this morning.
Mhm.
So we got sent home for a couple of hours, and then it's, as you can see, it's sunny as hell. So I'm gonna have to go back for a couple of hours. That's.
I was wondering why it was like morning for you.
Nah, it's not. It's 3:20 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
What time
Yeah,
is
I
it
guess
there?
no
What
daylight.
is it like 1:30 in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 1:30 in the morning.
What are you doing up at 1:30 in the morning?
No, I usually like I'm usually sleeping at like 1 actually.
Jesus Christ.
But like I need to start sleeping a little earlier because like I'm so used to like OTC land. I just wake up at like 9 and just look at any news or anything.
Yeah.
Just get ready. At Nasdaq, you have to like wake up at like 7 sometimes. So yeah, I need to like adjust my schedule a bit. Wake up at sleep at like 10, 11.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, it was freaking great to meet you. Let's
Yeah, same here.
Let's do this more, which is good.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's good to get different perspectives and some insight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely down to do this a lot more. Yeah.
It's nice to connect as well while you're at 10,000 before your big run up to the mill. So
no, we still on the journey.
yeah, no, I'll hopefully be in the US in the next, I hope in the next month or so. And then yeah, I'll message you and I'll come to.
Wait, so would you have like your citizenship?
Pardon?
Would you have your like citizenship?
Pure tourist visa.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'd only be coming for like 90 days, and then I'd have to like leave the country and try and re-enter.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's such a hassle. Wow.
Yeah, it's so difficult, and I've got to get exemptions to leave Australia and exemptions to enter America, and it's wild with COVID and everything. So yeah. All right, no worries. I'll talk to you soon.
Definitely, yeah.
Be great.
Definitely do this more. That was great. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.